Morning, today is July 22nd, 2025, and present with us is a Disaster Emergency Services Director Doug Dodge. You want to lead us off, Doug, and what's going on in your department, please?
Just wanted to provide update. Thanks for the opportunity. Things are busy, but we're this time of, especially this week with the Headwaters Country Jam coming up this week. Been doing a lot of planning, and we'll be setting up the incident command down there tomorrow. Unless they call and ask, they say that they're ready. They're setting up some of their electrical and all that. So they've given us, we're moving the incident command post, the command trailer, to a little bit different location, just down a little bit, kind of behind the stage a little bit. Kind of gives the dispatchers a little more security than where they had been in the past. So all is going fairly well with that process, as is the case. It's when they, especially if it has new folks that they come in and they haven't done it before, and so they're like, oh, okay, so this is how it is. You try to tell them that, but so it'll be interesting again. But so that's for the most part going smooth so far, knock on wood. As far as my office goes, things are going pretty well. We've got just some minor fires, nothing huge, but been involved in several, like either by happenstance or by just going. I think last week we were going down to do some comms testing for checking for different repeater locations, and that fire down in Whitehall took off right when I was going through town, so I diverted and over there. And it was good because they were short-handed, and so I got out there on the end of a tool, which I don't do very often anymore. But, so that was good. We've had a bunch of small fires, mostly all human caused or machinery in that case. Yesterday we did have, I suspect it was somebody dragging chains. There was a start. It was south of Boulder off of Highway 69, right off the road, and then another one going towards the dump. I initially thought it was going to be at the dump, and so I reached out. As soon as I heard that it was at the dump, I called Mike Myers to see if there was somebody there with a trailer to say, hey, check his chains if he's there, to see if we don't get more. But I'll suspect it was before the turnoff to the dump, so it was probably somebody that went up into the
Camping or something.
Yep. So but anyway, obviously the fine fuels are ready to start, because you don't usually see those types of ignitions when things are, until things are cured. So especially along the roadside. So the rain obviously helps. We got a whole bunch more of it on the north end and here south. I was down most of the day yesterday with went out to the mine, did some pre-planning for their emergency plan for their impoundments. They've got 3, including the pit, and I also brought Whitehall Fire in, and so we sat down with them and went over some of their emergency plans and gave them some input, and just a chance to meet people before the bad day comes. So I am pleased with how they do their operations down there. I think they're proactive with regard to safety, so I think that's a good thing. And they always reach out to me when we do these sort of things, so I'm very appreciative of that. So but fire wise, everything else is just typical busy, nothing too big going on, thankfully. We've come close a couple of times to getting assignments for going out with the cat, but again, the rest of the state has, thankfully, we got some very timely rains, especially out in eastern Montana, that has calmed things down a little bit. But all it takes is a little bit of time and some heat, which we'll see. So it's coming just like it does every year. So I'm thankful for the little reprieve, although we did get quite a bit of lightning last night, so we'll see what happens the next few days.
That we know of, though?
Nothing yet. We did get a few calls for smoke reports, but they were water dogs. I'm sure nobody could find anything. But there was quite a bit of lightning on that storm. I was down in Whitehall when that came through, so I didn't see.
I didn't see much lightning in my house. We had massive thunder.
Did you get quite a bit of hail? There was some
No.
hail at my house when I got home.
We didn't get any hail, but we got over a half-inch of rain in less than 20 minutes.
Now looking at the
And
radar,
then
it
it
was
kind of drizzled.
it was pretty
And it rained
intense.
again last night up there,
Yeah, I noticed that.
middle of the night, so.
There was nothing, at least when I left Whitehall at 8:30, 8 o'clock, somewhere in there. And there was no rain when I had left. I don't know if there was any after that, but.
Yeah.
It's pretty, I mean, it's just drier down there and I don't think it came over the hill very well. So anyway, office, everything's going pretty well. Pretty, just busy with a lot of juggling a lot of things, but, all is smooth, I think.
Any requests for the drone yet?
I did get one, the sheriff asked if I would take it out. He had a warrant that he was gonna serve and he wanted to see what the place was like and who was there and not there before I did, so I flew it and nobody was there, so. So that worked good, but I mean, that's a perfect use. Stuff like that. I was gonna try to put it up, and I can't remember if I told you guys this or not, but I was gonna put it up at the basin fire to see where that fire was going, but because of staffing situation, I deemed it more important to help to get things kind of corralled as far as organized. And so I did that. And by the time we kind of got those cats herded, we knew where it was. So didn't have an opportunity to put it up there, but it's going to be, I'm going to bring it down with us. I took some shots with it yesterday down at the concert site. So I can include that stuff and I do an incident action plan for that. And I took some aerial shots that I'll include. So, cause get help from other agencies that come in and you could say, we're calling this the south gate and this is the west gate to the arena and stuff like that. So kind of gets us a little bit on the same page as far as that goes. So definitely getting some air time, getting some stick time, learning how to do all the ins and outs with it. So
Is the quality pretty good?
quality is good. It's a thermal drone, so you don't get it's not a mechanical shutter, so you don't get quite the quality of the picture. I mean, they're still very good from my old eyes, but but for mapping purposes, the people that do I want to say survey grade mapping, you can't survey with the drone, but unless you're certified, but regardless, that level, it's not quite there from what I understand, but I think it's really great from the experience that I've had with it. So I'm excited. It's working good and want to provide it to, use to whoever can use it. So as long as we can fly it legally, that's the important thing, is making sure people understand, oh, you can't just take off and go. You gotta there's restrictions on how you have to do stuff. So and then being able to get Ben involved and Deputy Ben Fox, it's nice to have a young eyes that are into that kind of thing, because he can pick up on some stuff that I might not see. So anyway, really appreciative of that tool. I think it's going to be a benefit to the county in a lot of different ways. So I'm trying to think of anything else that's going on as far as the finance side of things. Everything's still up in the air with FEMA. I don't know. Like our Homeland Security grant, I put in again for that this year, but we still haven't even the state hasn't gotten notice of how much it's going to be, if it's going to be. They're also talking about changing that to a match now, whereas previously it was just the grant, which that'll make a big difference, because everybody, if it's just 100% free money, people put in for the moon, which is one of the struggles with it. So we'll see. Same with the grant that funds my office. We just don't know yet. So, but as soon as I find out information, I'll pass that along. And that's the biggest thing that I'm concerned with.
And your incident command trailer's all up and running. I see it.
It's up and running. Yep, put new AC unit in. That was, again, one of the benefits of when I go out, I charge for the use of taking my truck with me. They pay us for that, and that money I put it back into the program, and so that paid to replace the AC unit on it. That's last year. So stuff like that. I'm gonna also, I put a TV in, which we'll use. We're gonna have they've actually gonna put 10 cameras up around the place this year for the first time, and they said they can feed it into the TV that I have and their TVs. So that'll be interesting. I'll be curious to see on that. Got got some antennas and masts and that kind of stuff that are low tech, but very effective, that I use PVC pipe and some grip things that I installed on the outside, so you can just put them up real quick, install your antennas and put the Starlink on one, and then it's not permanently mounted to cause you grief when you're pulling it down the road. So, yeah, it's we keep plugging along with it. I did have to do some actual work to it, had done this earlier this winter, but the shop did a good job and took care of me. So just got it all ready to go, and hopefully, no issues. Always something that comes up though. And I do want to, that I've got several things on my looking forward, the agenda is I know we didn't have time to get that contract work that Steve Hadden was working on done, but I do think it's really important from a county liability standpoint for us to continue down that road. Which with you guys will have to make the final decision on that, but I think there's our insurance company plus some of the stuff that Steve discovered. I think it's important for us to change how the legal framework on how we agree to large events. Steve was about there, but there was some stuff he wanted to add to it that he didn't have time to do because of his other commitments. So that's one item. And then the other item is the co-op agreement, county co-op agreement. I think we talked about that, I think last time I was in here, with the fire departments and working that all out. I think it is going to be important that the county signs. I just suspect that we're going to need to have the county sign before we have all those agreements in place with the fire departments. Because I think if we wait to do that, that contract would get drawn out, and the contract itself hasn't changed from 2015, but I don't know if anyone ever actually paid that close of attention to the language that was in it. So, anyway, just another issue that I find that we need to fix.
Is this the one you're talking about that's got 400 and some pages?
I'm sorry?
Is this the one you're talking about that has 400 and some pages?
No.
That's the other-
Last night was that was the hazard mitigation plan, and that's what you adopted, I think it was last month's or
Okay.
this month's
Okay.
meeting. That's the 400-page document base plan, and then there's the 60-some page Jefferson County Annex, and that's as far as Whitehall, and I'm gonna do this for Boulder as well. I go and present it, and then it's up to them if they adopt it or not. I, of course, strongly encourage them to do so because it enables them to have access to grant funding. It's the old pre-disaster mitigation plan. And so I'll follow up with them and ask and prod, and if they do it, they do it, and if they don't, they don't.
Well,
But
hasn't that always been an issue?
it has, it's always a struggle, to try to get, I understand because it's minutia and it's a 400 and some page document that people don't really want to spend. I get it. I mean, we're all busy and that's a hard thing to do, but it's still important in my view, because it qualifies you for mitigation funding, and then on the recovery side, the hard part, of course, is now with all the changes in FEMA, I don't know what's going to happen with this stuff, but in my view, you want to have it in place and not need it than need it and not have it. So,
Yeah.
so I just, again, I'll advocate for it. I'll ask them to submit it. It falls into those jurisdictions to whether they choose to do that or not. I will do the same, just like I did last night down in Whitehall. I'll have that. I'm scheduled to be on Boulder's city council meeting next month, as long as I'm here. So nothing else
Not
comes up.
Hawaii or something.
Yeah, not gonna be in Hawaii. You can tell you that. Although we might go back in February. We're talking about it. So.
You're gonna go during the winter.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't want. Yeah, that's exactly the time to go. So those are always a challenge to try to get. And I've tried to keep everybody in the loop, but it's hard. I understand. I send a lot of emails, so people don't read them. And we did a lot of outreach. We actually did get more input into this one than we did for quite a few of the other ones. So that was a good thing. And we're able to incorporate most of it. So.
Were those valid questions last night, like in Whitehall,
They are valid, yep.
the siren and stuff? I don't know how you could.
The problem with that is specifically, I mean, I understand what they're saying, and it's not necessarily a bad idea. Just to, so the other commissioners were, they were asking with regards to the Texas flooding, something happens at night, how will people know? And of course, we have all the tools in our toolbox, our low power state FM, our primarily our iPause reverse notification system, the code red system. And then of course, if we have to try to go door to door, we can do that. And, but they also have that siren down there. And so they were asking the commission, or the council was asking about, well, could we modify that somehow? I'm not, the fire department, I believe, owns that. I'm not sure who owns that. Either the city does or the fire department does. I don't know, but it has one tone that's available that goes off with the pager. And in order to change that, I think you'd be looking at a fairly substantial expense. I think that could be done. And I think that could be done as like, that's a mitigation project, right? You could put in for something like that. If that was something that, but of course, they'd have to approve the plan in order to do stuff like that.
I
So
think you really need to push the code red. There was that storm last night. I got a text, I got an email, and I got a phone call,
yeah,
and it was pretty spot on.
yeah, and those are important tools, and trying to impress those, and that's at the meeting, I told them, because I know we send out in our tax bills, there's that little pamphlet that I always have a little blurb in there about that. And of course, all my public information, and every chance I get, especially when there's smoke in the air or something impactful that happens to the county, I push that stuff out. But if the town council wants to do something similar, I'm all about providing as much. I gave them all my contact stuff and said, please reach out. I think, I mean, as you said, it's a critical tool. It's a great tool for us to use. Both for the sign up part and the iPause part. So, but of course, then you do have that population valid in our county of folks that do turn their phone, elderly folks that don't even use cell phones, or B, have cell phones they don't turn on. And there's not a great solution to that other than, and I on my way home, I was wishing I would have said this, but one of the things that is nice about small jurisdictions is we help each other out. And that basin fire is a perfect example. Is if we had that bad incident, obviously, if we have to go door to door, but our neighbors, generally speaking, are going to help each other out. And so that's something else that we can rely on that is important. So
That happened a lot in Texas too, neighbors
Right.
are saving neighbors.
right,
And that's the only reason I said radio last night, because it seems
Right.
like some of the elderly leave the radio on,
right.
but not. too
Well,
much.
and I did,
I
I did mention it, but I don't think they picked up.
They
on
didn't
it,
pick
so.
up on it.
But at the same time, I mean, it's hard.
What it is.
But that's the benefit of that system, is it does reach a different demographic, right? And that's why it's important to have all those tools. That, I was talking to Ginger, actually, that comes up, I think in 2027 is when we need to look at getting that on the ballot again. It was a 10-year mill levy to support that system. And it expires in 2028, and so we want to make sure we get it on the ballot in 2027 is what Ginger said. So that'll be, where's the time go? Around the corner, I'm sure.
10 years,
So, but anyway, I thought those were good questions. I was actually appreciative that they were thinking about that, and I'm
Agreed on
glad
that.
people are thinking about that. It's a hard thing because we have a ton of tools that we can use, but people have to, and I think people generally understand this, especially in Jefferson County, but there's people that you have to take some responsibility, right? We have all these tools and we're gonna use every one of them that we possibly can, but there's only so many of us. And so if our neighbors can help, we don't.
And I know you're out there all the time, but it seems to me with some of the folks, because of their age and stuff, some of them are, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but are ignorant to the understanding of that code red.
Right, and that's the difficulty with that, absolutely.
And I don't know what
Well, so And that's the hard part. And that's one of the reasons I give my phone number out is because if somebody has a hard time, I'll put them in. I mean, they call me, I'll walk them through it, put them in. And I've done that several times. I mean, not a ton, but enough that it's worth it to me. I mean, if I get just one person signed up. Now that the nice thing about that system is the iPOS part of that. Now that is just towards cell phones. They don't have to sign up. I hit, if we use an iPOS alert, that goes to whatever cell phone is in the area. And that in a flooding instance, we would use those. That is a button that we don't use a lot because of the coverage that you get. So it has to be a very specific incident when you would use that part of it. But that in a flood like that, we would definitely do that. Of course, your phone's not on, or if you can still opt out of those emergency alerts. It's those amber alerts, right, that you get. If you've shut that off, then you're not going to get it. And again, it goes back to we educate as much as we can and we provide as many of the tools as we can. And some people are not going to want to listen to it. So
Would it be feasible for you to put that maybe, like as an example, Whitehall or Boulder and put it into the letter to the editor?
oh yeah, I do that. I put in almost every one of my articles that I send
Right.
out. I mean, I did it at the
I
beginning
saw
of,
one time.
yeah, that's a month ago or so ago. Whenever I put that stuff out there,
I'd like to think you get takers, but I.
and I do, I mean, the hard part is, and this isn't unique to Jefferson County, it's unique across the country, is the sign up rate for these is very low across the board.
Okay.
It's people that want to be proactive are going to be proactive, but most people frankly don't think about it until the disaster is happening, unfortunately. And if there was a key to that, but I do like I mean, the things that we've done, we continue to do is when that smoke is in the air or when we use it to send out a message, I'll also say, hey, if you didn't get this, here's where you sign up. That's one of the most effective ways to get people to sign up, to say, we send out an alert using code red, and then we put it on social media and on the radio and stuff is, hey, we sent a message out using this tool in this area. If you live there and didn't get it, the reason is you probably didn't sign up, so please sign up here.
Is
So-
Facebook included with that or is
Yep,
that something? that's
yep.
what I thought, okay.
Yep. So
'Cause I see
It-
that. I must have.
it's a struggle. I mean, and then you've got even younger generation who they don't like Facebook. They use other stuff. So
Or go to TikTok. or
right, exactly.
Snapchat.
But those are really hard to.
Go out there and do a dance.
Right, exactly. I've thought about do a video because I actually created and for not necessarily for those types of things, but a YouTube account so we can post videos during incidents, because one of the challenges that you have, especially now, is rumor control and so us being able to go out on a fire and turn on the camera and take a video of what's going on and explain it could be helpful in the event that we get something where people are second guessing or making stuff up. So you got to try everything you can try. But anyways, other questions?
Fire council was good.
Fire council was good. We had, thanks for coming to that. I thought it was, actually, I think that's the first time, every department was there, and that's the first time in ages.
Whitehall
since
wasn't
that.
there, were they?
No, Whitehall was there.
Whitehall.
Yeah,
Oh.
because it was the assistant chief. I can't think of his name.
I don't know
McDuff?
anybody anymore.
McDuff. Yeah, he was there. So that's the first time, and it was held here in Boulder, but Elk Park is the one that we've always really struggled with, and they were there.
Well, they weren't really there.
Well,
They're helping, they don't.
They're not on the department, but they were from Elk Park, so that's more representation than we've had from them for a long time. So that was really good. I'm trying to think of any of the topics that we went over there. One of the things I did bring up was whether we should just go into automatic closed debris burning like July 1. I know Lewis and Clark County went with that. It always ends up being the first week of July regardless. I go back and forth about that, but I set that out to the chiefs because when it comes to debris burning, they control their own districts, and so, and then I, as the county rural fire chief, am over the county protected areas that are outside of districts. The headache in Jefferson County. Regardless, I just put that out there so that as a potential for the future. You know, might be nice to say, get your burning done by July 1st, because really you shouldn't be burning after July 1st anyway. On the other hand, if it's super rainy and stuff, I think it doesn't make sense to have a cutoff date, but in the last few, I want to say the last 10 years, I don't know that we've ever gone past the first week of July with debris burning open, even when the conditions were reasonable. So it just dries out too fast once we do get a storm. But anyway, I brought that up to them. I have quite a few of them that have switched to I am responding. I know Clancy's looking at doing that too. So there's, I think Elk Park is still in e-dispatch, and you guys are on e-dispatch still, so Boulder, so it's less expensive,
Is it?
from what I've been told. I know search and rescues,
It
both
is.
search and rescues are on I am responding. It being able to have everybody on the same one, then they can all add each other and see if who's coming where. The really nice thing would be is if I could get an account in dispatch, so dispatchers could see, so they don't have to be calling when nobody gets on the radio. If somebody had clicked on there, they could see it, and then they don't have to waste time worrying. Anyway, that's another project for.
DNRC's paying our fire departments to staff.
Yes,
That was another.
yep, that's a pretty cool project, and first year that they've done severity staffing this year. Thank you for reminding me of that. They have engines in, well, it's Montana City has an engine, and Whitehall has an engine. It's very similar to the process that I signed myself up for going out on fires, but it's EFF, Emergency Firefighter Program. They sign up their equipment through DNRC, and they call it severity staffing, and DNRC's has some extra budget. And so they've increased that program. It's very common in eastern Montana where they pay, because there isn't any DNRC offices or equipment out there. So they just pay local fire departments to have somebody there all the time. And that's what they've done here. And so you will end up with, the net result is it's a Montana City or engine or a Whitehall engine, but if we ask for DNRC to come, you might get that engine. They're working essentially for DNRC, even if so you don't ask for mutual aid from Montana City, but if you're asking for DNRC help, you might get that engine instead, because
And that's the fire department.
it is the fire
Equipment.
department. It's fire department equipment, fire department personnel, and they're getting paid, both of those, the staff and the engine are getting paid by DNRC. And they get paid to sit there too during the day when it's severe, and that's why they call it severity, because they only do it when there's, the conditions are such that they're worried about trying to catch stuff. And of course, DNRC got a lot more money have in the last couple legislative sessions, so it's a good thing. It's great for our departments, fantastic experience for those guys. So I was really excited to see those two departments be able to sign up for that. And Whitehall almost went, they were getting ready and they were staffed up to send their engine out to Miles City for a pre-position out there. Same thing, because they just move these resources around depending on where stuff is happening. And but they ended up not, one of the engines that they had out in Miles City timed out, and they decided not to move them back out there just because they got that rain. So but they have moved Whitehall up to Montana City, when Montana City got sent somewhere in Lewis and Clark County, or Cascade County or something. So it's a great opportunity. It is confusing, I think, to some of the fire departments, because they'll be there and all of a sudden, I didn't page Montana City. Why is Montana City? And it's not Montana City, it's DNRC.
They
So,
showed up yesterday at our fire at the dump.
right, I saw that. Yep. Which that's what it's for. They're getting paid, and it's makes for quicker response and more, especially locally. I mean, they could go anywhere, but I mean, they're still close, and they're the closest resource that they're here.
Yeah.
And it's a great experience for those guys. Awesome experience. So anyway,
Jonathan's not part of DNRC anymore, is he?
he is not, he's he's an EFF, so he's, I mean, he's still on Montana City Fire,
Right,
but he is not on,
he doesn't work for DNRC.
he doesn't work for DNRC, you know, his
Yeah,
day
it's
job.
just funny seeing him on the fire truck, but not the DNRC fire
Right,
truck.
right. And he worked for them for 10
Forever.
years or what, yeah. But he started his own business actually, teaching stuff. He's a good guy. And so he's still around and they hired him for the summer,
Mhm.
through the EFF program, same thing. And so, so he's working on that, but they do have, I mean, the NRC is well staffed. My son's fighting fire for him this summer.
Nice.
Actually, he's on a, I get to be the proud dad for a minute. He got picked up by the, Helena Hot Shots. He went out, he's in Colorado right now. He's on a temporary assignment with the Helena Hot Shots. So, of course, I haven't heard from him but once, because they're, I'm sure they're out of coverage or whatever, but
Making money.
yeah, so. Our relationship with DNRC has always been strong, and a lot of the stuff they're doing is pretty exciting. They've got new detection equipment, flight, we've got 3 new fixed wing aircraft that they've ordered some IR stuff for it to increase detections. One of the guys I work with on the CAT, and I may have told you this as well, he manages that program. And so last year they did a pilot program for these IR flights, and I got to watching how they did that. When they do these flights, he gets all the data and then reviews the IR flights with the lat long locations, syncs all that together, and then he calls the local DNRC districts and says, here's the lat longs, go find it. And they go on out and find a fire that's this big just in the middle of the forest somewhere, which stops it from obviously getting big. And yes, that stuff's expensive, but I think they caught, I want to say 10 that were undetected by anybody else that they found through this. And so, proof's in the pudding. They found it and stopped it. So
Saved a lot of money.
it saved a lot of money in the long run. I do think it will. So, and so they're expanding that program. That was last year was the pilot project. Now they've got, 3 in the process of being completed. They've got the aircraft. I don't think they have the sensors yet.
Have you heard anything or done anything with the basin tower yet, or? I
So,
don't know if any progress has been made on trying to figure out if we can get up on the cell phone tower since they changed hands on the property up there.
well, I haven't heard about that, but we do have the Jack Mountain Tower is done, but the basin tower itself, I had not heard about anything.
So the guy that owned the property around the tower wanted to charge us an exorbitant amount to access the tower back when Craig was sheriff. And that property changed hands and they seem to be anxious to work with, they're working with the TV board and basin and trying to get where they're available to help with whatever. So we're gonna maybe try to get the guy's number and see, if we can access the cell phone tower up there, we can get our tower off of the mine.
Oh, I see what you're
scale and
saying.
Move it up to the
Gotcha.
cell phone
Repeaters
tower.
up there.
Right. No, I hadn't heard about that.
Oh, you
So
didn't know?
I
And
haven't,
it's much better coverage off of that tower. We did some checking into it and wanted to put it up there, but it was
He wanted
outrageous.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he wanted a ton. This
No,
new
I
guy
haven't.
is from out of state. I think he's willing to help out, whatever he can help out. He may not even charge us for access, but.
No, I had not, I mean, I hadn't been on that conversation, so I wasn't aware of that part of it, so.
But it's a Verizon tower, is it?
It's a Verizon tower.
And maybe before we even get.
It's
a
run
hold
by
of this
that
guy.
American
Well,
Tower
American
Company,
Tower
though,
Company, but- yeah.
that's the tower owner. It's Verizon equipment.
So whoever communicates with those people, it might be wise to ask them, okay, if we have access to the basin tower, can we use some of that space?
Right.
I mean, that would
Then
be the
it would
first.
be similar to what's going on
And,
in Montana City,
Right.
that north end site.
right. And Bear just fixed that road, well, I use the term fix loosely. It's hard to totally fix
You
that.
can walk up it now?
But yeah, but he did get that. I haven't been up there since he did it, but Tom Dunn went up there and said it was definitely a lot better, so.
Yeah, and Tom might even still have the stuff from when we did it before.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to spearhead whatever that stuff. I just.
Okay.
So I'm
haven't-
sure it would be,
Yeah.
it would be just exactly like the,
There's three of them.
that north end.
Right,
one.
it wouldn't-
How-
oh,
What's that?
right.
$250
Why
or
they do
something.
it.
Yeah, it's really reasonable, actually.
Well, you know,
For
just put a
towers.
bug in your, I don't know if it's the sheriff should reach out to the, American Tower and ask them if that's a possibility for us to get
Yeah.
our equipment up there. I don't know how much of an ordeal, but all I know is that land changed hands and we could probably access. it
Have
going up,
access,
and I think-
interesting. I'll probably start with Tom Dunn and ask him about that as far as that specific site.
Cause that's where we originally wanted to put it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd have to put a shed up there or something to house your equipment. I'm not sure how that works.
I mean, you'd have to have some space in there. But I'll talk to him. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Was this recently they changed? Now?
Yeah, just this spring, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll definitely ask him about it.
I looked too, I must.
I do know that, I'm
The
sorry.
guy actually reached out to the TV, I don't know if he was in the bar, Judy Cologne,
Mhm.
who does the TV board up there, and the guy that bought it said, yeah, we'll move your TV thing up there. If you need to, it's all, whatever you need, so.
Oh, cool. Well,
So I figured it'd
I'll
be-
stay in touch with you on that then.
Yeah.
I'll send him, I need to talk to Tom again, as always.
And I'll maybe talk to Judy and see if I can get a name of that guy. and
That would
the
be great.
number, And then
Yeah.
we'll get to the point where we can ask him how much he charges for access to the tower, then
Mhm.
we can do that if it's feasible on the radio side.
Great. Well, and that's the coverage, if they were studied it before, I'm sure that's not gonna change, so.
No, you can look at it, I mean, the tower we have now is down on the mine.
Right.
And the other tower's up there, I mean, it can see 10 times
Mhm.
farther than,
Which would be
Exactly.
great to have both. I mean, that Jack Mountain repeater that's a impressive repeater. But
Yeah.
again, that's a solar site and we don't own any of that, but
right?
except for the stuff that's in dispatch, but
But
that's
yeah,
been,
just an idea, when you have time to chase,
Yeah.
just figure it out, it may be well worth it, cause that would give you, I mean, from the edge of the canyon to the.
oh,
edge of
it's,
the canyon,
yeah,
you
way
see-
better than where it is now.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've always, interesting. Thanks for that.
Yeah, you bet. Let me know if I can help, like I say, when you get to where it looks like it's feasible, let me know and I'll reach out and see if I can get the guy's name.
Okay. All right, I'll give Tom Dunn a call and start with that
Okay,
from there.
yeah, that sounds good. Very good.
Anyway, so that's what's going on with me. I will be pretty busy because we'll be down at Whitehall most of the, because I kind of am the IT guy for that.
Oh, you're IT, yeah,
When
yeah.
I'm down there, but, and then of course one of the things that we do, of course, is I keep the reverse notification stuff up and ready, so if we need to hit a button, we can do it like that. That's always the hard part with reverse notifications, is it, in a perfect incident, it could take 15 to 20 minutes to get it all mapped and stuff like that, but I already have that pre-done and ready to go, so.
So can you do that all in the IC trailer?
Yep,
Okay,
yep, use my Starlink and.
and that'll be 24 hours right now?
Yeah, well, I won't be there 24 hours. I will take some sleep at some point.
No, I understand.
But they have, and that's the other thing that because I tie in with the National Weather Service, of course,
Right.
and they let me know when stuff is coming, and so I
Okay.
pass that on to them because they have trigger points for when they shut stuff down and stuff like that, which every year we get thunderstorms roll through there.
Right.
Watch tents go flying into Gallatin County.
Oh, yeah, just showing it, so,
Yeah. So,
okay. Appreciate it.
yes.
Anything else, sir? or-
No, I think that's it, unless you guys have other questions. I appreciate the opportunity to do this. I'd like to continue to keep, hopefully I'll remember next time.
Yeah.
I had it on my calendar and it didn't pop up as an alert, and I always have all my stuff pop up and say, this meeting's in 15 minutes, and it never showed up, so,
Okay, this concludes this meeting then, thank you.
all right. So if that, are you guys